One of Britain's biggest house builders has just watched their profits collapse by more than half, while politicians stand at podiums promising 1.5 million new homes. The very companies expected to build them are hemorrhaging cash at an alarming rate. This isn't some isolated corporate stumble you can ignore. If you're trying to buy your first home, if you're renting and watching prices climb, if you've got money tied up in property, what's happening right now at Vistra Group should make you sit up and pay attention. Because when a giant starts to fall, the ground shakes for everyone standing nearby. If you want to stay ahead of everything happening in the UK property market and truly understand how these seismic shifts will hit your wallet, smash that like button and subscribe to UK Housing Insight. We are cutting through the noise to bring you the property and economic news that actually matters. Vistra Group has just posted numbers that would make any investor's stomach drop. Pre-tax profits didn't just dip, they crashed by 55% to a mere £40 million in the first half of 2025, a result that reflects deep structural pressure across the housing sector. We are not talking about some struggling startup here. Vistra owns Bovis Homes, Countryside, and Linden Homes. These are household names that have shaped British suburbia for decades. This is a titan of the industry taking a direct hit, and their order book for new homes has shrunk compared to last year. When a company this size, with this much experience and these many resources, starts posting numbers like these, it's not bad luck. Something fundamental has broken in the market, and the cracks are spreading fast. Walk into any estate agent's office right now and you'll feel it. There's a strange paralysis gripping potential buyers across the country. Economic uncertainty has turned the housing market into a standoff where nobody wants to make the first move. People are frozen, caught between wanting a home and being terrified of affordability, mortgage stress, and long-term financial exposure in an unstable economy. You'd think the promise of interest rate cuts would get them moving, but it hasn't. The Bank of England can hint all at once, but buyers aren't biting. The confidence simply isn't there. People are holding back, waiting for some magical moment of clarity that might never come. And while they wait, this cautious sentiment is strangling the entire supply chain. Builders can't sell, so they stop building. Suppliers can't deliver materials to sites that aren't operating. The whole machine is grinding to a halt because buyers won't pull the trigger. Now here's where it gets really interesting. The UK government has made a bold commitment to deliver 1.5 million new homes in England by 2029. Do the maths and that's roughly 300,000 homes every single year. It's an ambitious target that sounds great in a manifesto. But here's the problem nobody in Westminster wants to talk about. The companies meant to actually build these homes are reporting collapsing order books, shrinking margins, and plummeting profits. Vistra's struggles aren't just a corporate earnings disappointment. They're a flashing red warning light that these government targets might be completely detached from market reality. The gap between what politicians promise and what the market can actually deliver is widening at a frightening pace, especially as affordability constraints, financing costs, and planning delays intensify. You can set all the targets you want, but if builders are bleeding money, who exactly is going to construct these homes? This crisis runs deeper than economic cycles or temporary market corrections. We are watching a fundamental affordability breakdown play out in real time. House prices have been outpacing wage growth for years, and that gap has now turned into a chasm. Even with the interest rate cuts everyone keeps talking about, mortgage rates remain significantly higher than the rock-bottom levels seen in recent years. A generation of first-time buyers is being systematically priced out of the market. The people who would normally be lining up to buy these new homes, young professionals and growing families, simply can't afford them anymore. The maths doesn't work. You can only stretch a salary so far before reality sets in. And when the natural customer base for new builds evaporates, builders like Vistra are left holding developments that nobody can buy. But the damage doesn't stop with struggling builders and frustrated buyers. Slower construction means reduced housing supply at exactly the moment when demand remains stubbornly high. Basic economics tells you what happens next. This pressure will likely push prices even higher for existing homes. If new builds aren't coming onto the market, people compete more fiercely for what's already there. The rental market faces exactly the same strain. Less new stock means more competition for rental properties. Landlords might see short-term benefits from this squeeze, but long-term market instability helps nobody. Anyone planning to move in the next few years needs to understand that this pressure is only getting tighter. The safety valve of new construction that's supposed to ease the crisis simply isn't working anymore. Vistra isn't fighting this battle alone. Right across the industry, major house builders are facing similar headwinds. Construction costs remain elevated, even though some material prices have corrected from their peaks. Planning permission delays, regulatory burdens, and infrastructure costs continue to add complications. The entire sector is caught in an impossible vice: government pressure to build more homes faster and market conditions that make building financially unviable. Some smaller developers have already made their choice. They've pulled back or exited the market entirely. When smaller players start disappearing, it concentrates the market in fewer hands and reduces competition. That's terrible news for anyone hoping prices might stabilize or affordability might improve. So what does all this actually mean for ordinary people trying to live their lives? If you already own a home, you might see property values remain inflated due to supply constraints. That sounds positive until you realize it makes moving up the ladder just as difficult. First-time buyers face an increasingly narrow window of opportunity that's closing fast. You save for a deposit, and by the time you're ready, prices have jumped again. Renters will likely experience continued upward pressure on rents as supply stays tight. The dream of home ownership is moving further out of reach for many. And this isn't a temporary blip that will correct itself in 6 months. These are structural issues baked into the market that could define UK housing for years to come. Vistry's 55% profit collapse is far more than a corporate earnings story buried in the financial pages. It's a symptom of a housing market caught between impossible political targets and brutal economic reality. The government stands firm on wanting 1.5 million homes built, but the companies meant to actually construct them are struggling just to survive. For anyone watching the property market, whether you're trying to buy, rent, invest, or simply understand where things are heading, this is your warning. The supply crisis that's been brewing for years isn't getting better anytime soon. The question isn't whether the housing shortage will impact you. It's how severely and how soon you'll feel it. Because when builders stop building, everyone pays the price. The first-time buyer priced out of the market. The renter facing yet another increase. The homeowner trapped in a property that no longer fits their needs. They all pay. And right now, the builders are sending a very clear message. The current model is broken, and nobody seems to know how to fix it.